Good day, gents, and welcome to another episode of Father's Fire. My name's Jody Cedric, and every week we get together to explore the joys, the challenges, the triumphs, the sorrows, and yes, the fun of being a dad. And I'm super excited because I have a really fun guest for you today. He's into superheroes, comics, and he loves being a dad, and he's all about working with families and young men to create an impact. But before we get into my guest, I want to remind you that I'm part of the Speak Fire family. So make sure to check out the rest of the crew because we're all delivering phenomenal messages to help you grow as an individual in your individual lane. So make sure you check them out. And of course, my boy, Julian Gibson, Rethinking Rich, is a huge supporter. So we got to give him a mad shout out. So good morning, good day. Welcome, Will Fosset. So super excited to have you join us.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no, it's great. So Will and I connected. Will and I are part of the same elite speaking group called Elite Speaking Academy, run by Mr. Sean Hart and Mike Lewis.
Yes.
And so we have been connected. We've been learning, growing together. And what really made me want to reach out to Will is he's a huge Marvel and DC comic fan. I'm like, that's going to make him a super fun dad.
I hope so. That's the plan, right?
That is the plan. So, but before we do that, let's introduce you. So tell us about you, what you're trying to do as a mentor, as a speaker, as a motivator, as a teacher, coach, all that.
Right. So my name is Will Fosset, and I am the CEO of Millennial Empowerment, which works with youth and families. And so, as Jody said, I am a huge comic fan. And so I take that concept of heroes, of leadership, of all those different themes that we see and apply them to real life scenarios and apply them to real youth, to real people. So whether it's leadership, whether it's the family dynamic, whether it's learning how to be the best version of you, those are concepts that we see over and over. And so what I want to do is take those concepts and initiate them and give us something functional to use in our everyday lives.
No, I love it because I think everybody loves the idea of a superhero, right? Everybody wants to have their own superpower. And I think a lot of times we as dads, we get so overwhelmed with being a dad that we forget that we could be and are often, if we're playing the right role and engaged with our kids, we can be the superhero in their life, whether they want to admit it or not.
For sure. I know, like for me, my own personal thing is my dad is my real life hero. Not because he had these extraordinary powers or gifts that we would see in the comics, but my dad was the one who showed up. So much like you would see a hero in a comic when something's going wrong, oh, the hero comes to the rescue. My dad was that for me. Oh man, I'm in trouble at school. I know my dad's gonna show up. Whether I'm right or wrong, he's gonna show up. So that's really been one of the big motivating factors for me. Like you said, just having that dad, that presence there of at the end of the day, Superman's gonna swoop in and save me, or at least protect me from whatever's coming my way. That's been my dad for me, and so my goal is to give that out perpetually, for sure.
Yeah, I love the idea or the imagery of a dad swooping in and saving the day. But a lot of times it's not so much that we as dads need to step in and swoop in and save the day. It's that we need to consistently be there. And I remember this one time, I was about 12, 13 years old. I was in Boy Scouts, and they decided to take us boys on a 20-mile hike. Well, 3 miles into it, as we're walking, my dad said, make sure you ration your water. We got 20 miles, so don't, gulp it down in the first 2 miles. Well, I'm watching all the other kids, and they're just chugging their water down. Well, 3 to 5 miles in it, they have nothing. And me and my dad, the entire time, we had rationed it out. And we got to this point where everybody was just dying of thirst. And we came across this spring coming out of this pine tree. And I mean, these guys were just gulping down the water, and the sap was coming through. It got into our Scoutmaster's beard. He actually had to shave his beard because he got so much sap in it.
Wow.
The ironic thing was, when we climbed over the next hill, we were done with the hike. But my dad saved the day, the entire trip. He was going, make sure you be strategic about when you take the water. We got 20 miles to go, so don't do it all at once.
Yeah. That's that fatherly wisdom, right? And so I know for me, one of those lessons I learned was it's not always what you can give, but what you can teach, right? So,
Mm.
one of the jobs as a father is I'm not supposed to be here to give my kid everything. I'm not supposed to give them every toy they want and every, dress that my daughter sees. My job is to teach her how to gain or get value herself. How do I go and I get the money that I want in a way so I can go buy that dress? Or what lesson can I teach her to get her to understand the concept of money, or rationing your money and your savings like your dad did with you. Let's figure out these lessons and provide the value to her or to your children as a father, so that way at the end of the day when we know we'll be gone, oh, I taught my kid that, I taught my son that, I taught my daughter that. So that's the greatness of being a dad. Is like, I may not be able to give you everything monetarily, but up here, I'm going to give you everything I got because I want to know at the end of the day that you'll be okay.
Well, and the other thing too is we need to empower them with the skill set to survive and thrive. I mean, really, we want them to thrive, not just survive. And I think a lot of dads really focus in and hone in on, I got to teach them, when as important, if not more important, is you need to be present. You need to be engaged. You need to actually open your heart to your kid and say, hey, dad loves you.
Yes.
And I think there has been a lot of men struggle with being able to express to their children and their wives, even in some scenarios, that the true feelings of their heart.
So I'll ask you a question. Joe, do you have how many daughters?
I have 2 daughters.
Right. You have 2. I have 1. What's the number one lesson you try to impart to your daughters above everything else?
The number one lesson, I want them to feel like and know that they are queens and that they should be treated like that.
Yep.
Right? They're not second class. They're first class, and they need to roll at our sides, if not bare minimum at our sides, but if anything, ahead of us. And we need to create that environment that they really feel that way.
Yep. And so now, as a coach, what I know for a fact is that you have set a precedent now that says when your daughter decides to date or get married or whatever, she's going to think back, well, my dad told me that at bare minimum, I'm supposed to be by your side. Maybe I'll even be in front, so that way I can protect you and you can be the man and all those type of things. But being second fiddle or playing the background, no, that'll never happen. So that's why that example and that impact that you impart to your daughters is so beneficial to them.
So how old is your daughter?
So my daughter just turned 2.
2. So you're at the beginning stages, man.
I am. But so here's the thing, right? I'm at the beginning stages of fatherhood, yes. But my life has been, I've been around women and children my whole life, right? My calling is to work with families. So it's me and my dad and my family. Everybody else is a female. My mom, I have 3 sisters. I'm married, right? I've been in a long-term relationship for the past 10 years. So these things of understanding and trying to place value on the women around me is not something that's just new to me. It's like, all right, I'm constantly been working towards this goal of how do I impart this wisdom, this value to the people around me, for sure.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So you were the only boy with 3 sisters. So what was that dynamic like, being, the son of a dad that had 3 daughters as well?
So if you see my hat, it says Ronin, right? So like I said, I'm a self-proclaimed nerd. So if you look at Ronin Culture, it is an individual who had no master, or they had no honor, and they just went out on their own journey, right? So that was me as a kid. I was literally, I'm going to do it my way. I got to figure it out right. I got to figure it out on my own. And so you could tell me go left, and that's the best way to go. I'm going to go right just because you said go left, and then I'll course correct from there, right? So what that meant for me growing up was whatever was already the standard, I either I'm going to figure out a new way to do that standard, or I'm going to go above it. And then you're going to be like, well, why did you do it that way? My response is because that's the way it made sense to me. And so dealing with this generation that we work with, or that I work with now, they are like a Ronin culture. They don't understand leadership, and they don't understand mentorship. A lot of them don't have father figures, right? And so that's been one of the roles that I've taken on is, hey, let me mentor you, let me coach you, let me show you how some of these things and how these concepts work. Because yes, you can get a lot done on your own, but there's going to be that one day that you don't know what to do. Let me show you. There's going to be that one thing that you can't figure out. Let me help you, right? And so even with that, I understand this culture, or I try to understand this culture in a way that they know what is best for them, and I'm going to let them do that. But along the way, when you have those questions, let me be here for you.
And that can be a real struggle for a dad, because as we're watching our kids kind of course through life, you can almost see that they're heading for the precipice, right? It's like, well, that decision's not going to work out so well for you. And having the wisdom to know when to step in and the wisdom to step back and let them experience falling off the cliff or touching the fireplace, or, getting hurt by a relationship, or, whatever it is, that can be a real challenge for a dad, because no dad really wants to see their babies get hurt.
No,
but we want to see them grow.
Exactly.
And sometimes the pain is the best teacher. The experience is the best teacher, rather than me as a dad just stepping in.
It's one of the superhero contexts, right? So if I'll use it this way, Superman and Lois Lane, right? Everybody knows who Superman is and Lois Lane. If you ever seen any movie, any comic that dealt with them, what's the one thing everybody always hates about Lois Lane? She gets herself into these terrible situations. She's on the side of a cliff, or she's in this car, or every bad guy is after her. Why? Because they know, oh man, Superman is going to swoop in. But what about that one day when Superman doesn't come to rescue you? What are you going to do then? And that's what we want to get away from, I guess, as fathers, is no, I'm not going to always be here to save the day. But I do want you to know that, all right, my dad does have my back, right? I might even let you dangle for a minute before I come and get you, because you got to learn this lesson. Now we can sit down and talk about it. Like, oh, what did you learn today? Man, I learned never to jump without a rope, or whatever it may be. It's those type of things that, like you said, as fathers, we don't want to see our children hurt. We don't want to see them going through these emotional turmoils. But those are where the lessons are. We have scars to remind us of our lessons. It's I saw a picture the other day, and it had this lion, and the face was tattered. He was bleeding, but that lion now is going to be stronger for next time he goes in the battle against those hyenas. They'll never get him the same way again, right? Because he has the scars to remember, okay, the last time they tried to gang up on me, I'm going to turn my back this way, back myself into a corner, and I'm going to fight my way out of it, right? Those lessons, those scars are going to always be there to remind us of the things that we went through.
So, yeah, you have a 2-year-old daughter, and, it's interesting watching them go from the face. To me, about 18 months is when babies got interesting. I mean, before that, they were just poop eating flesh bobs. They throw up on you every once in a while and smile, like, cute, but, as you're starting to get into those terrible twos and you're looking ahead, what are the things that you're hoping the things that you're desiring to do as a dad? And because I think a lot of times we struggle with the things that we're hoping to be, but is that really the quest? Do we as dads, is there more from your perspective now that there are two? What are you looking forward to, and what are you trying to align so that she feels that self-worth, she feels like a queen, she feels that daddy loves her and that he's there for her?
So one of the concepts that my wife and I have read up on and try to use is the love languages, right? Some people require physical touch, and some people want words of affirmation, or some people look gestures, right? So all those, I think it's 5 different love languages. So right now, my daughter is in the physical touch stage, right? As she would be a child.
Yeah.
She wants nothing more than to lay across my shoulder. My daughter could be completely fine. She'll come to me, grab my hand. She literally just wants to lay on my shoulder, and I'm okay with that. So as a father, what we have to do is find out. Let me backtrack. Remember that your child is a human being. Though they are your child, they are going to operate differently than you. Take a moment to understand who they are, what they like, and now, as you, as the parent, as the father, how can I invest in that? So if it's physical touch, let me hold you, let me kiss you. Now, as you know, with older daughters, they may get to a point where, Dad, can you just leave me alone? I want to sit in my room and whatever. But each daughter has a different or unique space to them that all right, this is my space with my daughter. This is this lane. We're, like you said, we're going to go work out. That's your daddy-daughter time. So
Yeah.
whatever that space is, as a parent, hey, take a moment, think about, assess who your child is, what they like, what they dislike. How does that correlate to how you can provide value and be intentional in developing that relationship with your child now, so that later on they don't just think that's just mom or that's just dad. No, that's my mom. That's my dad. You want to add that value to your children where they beyond just love you, they respect and adore you. That's where, as I know for me, changes occur when children not only love or respect, but adore their parents. Oh my God, my mom, I love her. She's my best friend. Or my dad, he may be hard on me, but that's my guy. I was that kid. As wrong as I may be, my dad was going to give me the business. But at the end of the day, hey, I did that, right? You know where you went wrong. Absolutely. But that's the connection that he and I developed over time. Was I may go wrong, I may be completely wrong, but I knew my dad was going to, number one, protect me, and I adored him for that. Number two, he was going to tell me why and how and where I went wrong, so that way I could learn from it.
Yeah. I have so many thoughts going through. Yeah. First of all, the love language of each kid. I've never really thought about it that way, because I think a lot of times we think about love language as, I need to understand the love language of my wife so that, I'm not in the doghouse and I'm treating her like the queen that she should be. And I think we as fathers sometimes forget that each one of our kids have their own unique personalities, their learning style, the way that they want to be parented, the way they want to be treated, encouraged, coddled, all of that. They all have their unique perspective. And it's interesting because as I was listening to you, I was thinking about my two daughters. Now, my one daughter, I mean, she just loves fashion and shopping and all this stuff. And the other day, she came down and she goes, Dad, I'm really feeling like a crafty day. I'm like, okay, I can do that with it, because she's phenomenal. She's got this really creative eye, and she's on Pinterest and she's decorating her room and stuff. And she goes, but that means we're going to have to go shopping. All my kids know that I'm not a big shopper, right? But
Right.
she prefaced it. And we went out and we just had a blast. I mean, we're just walking along Walmart, and she's just sharing all her stuff with her girlfriends and all her other friends and blah, 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 blah. And she goes, I'm really talking a lot, aren't I? I'm like, yeah, you are, but that's okay. Keep going, right? And, and after you and I do this, I'm going to go work out with my other daughter. And so they have, their unique ways that they want to connect. And it's our opportunity as dads to put ourselves in a place to to take advantage of that and create those environments that we can really connect as fathers to our kids.
Yeah. But that's great to your credit, right? Because you were cognizant enough to be in the moment and create a moment with her that now will become a memory that she'll never forget.
Oh, I
Oh,
know I
Dad.
won't forget it.
I know you
I
want,
mean, I
but
had
your
a
daughter's
blast.
gonna come back and say, Dad, remember that one time
Yeah.
I drew this, or we went here and got all of these things and I made this, and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I do remember that. But to her, it's gonna stand out because it was a moment that you took to make the moment about her. And so
Yeah.
as coaches, as fathers, as mentors, those are the things that I try to emphasize to anyone that I work with is take advantage of the moment. Don't think about next week or next year. What are you doing right now in this moment that's going to provide the most value to whoever you're dealing with? Just like me and you, I'm totally into me and you right now. And in that moment, you were totally into your daughter. And those moments are going to pay dividends later. But for right now, you got everything. All my attention is on you. And
Yeah.
those things mean a lot to children for sure.
Well, and I think it's, we as dads sometimes struggle with trying to create these moments instead of embracing them when they come, and just setting aside everything else that's in our mind, on our schedule or whatever, and go, hey, right now my kid needs me and I'm going to make time for them.
Yes.
And when we capture those moments, it really does create an environment for true connection. And that's what it's about. It's about creating true connection, because whether it's in the home, whether it's in business, people will not always remember what you taught them, but they will always remember how you made them feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that feeling doesn't go away. And even so, one of the concepts I teach my children is 7 seconds. 7 seconds can make or break I won't say your life, but it can make or break you, right? In 7 seconds, you can make a first impression. You know how many things we can do in 7 seconds? It's not many. You can like breathe, you can do a jumping jack, or you can shake someone's hand. But in those 7 seconds, you can make an impression on someone that they'll never forget. Oh, hey, Will, I met you before. You did? Yeah, I met you. We were at the gas station. You shook my hand firmly. You said, hey, have a nice day. And then those 7 seconds passed. But now when the event comes or an occasion rises and I may need to refer to this person, yeah, right, I remember Will. He did this and it was really great meeting him. Those 7 seconds can have such a lasting impression. So the same thing occurs with us and our families. What impressions are you giving off to your children? What impressions are you setting for them to feel comfortable with you? Oh man, Dad looks upset. I'm not going to say nothing to him right now. And it may be, no, I'm not really upset. I'm just thinking about something in that second. But I want my children, I want the families that I work with to think about those things. We have to make sure that the impressions that we give off aren't always so combative and so aggressive. We have to be receptive to those around us. And that's how you get your children to, like I said, respect and love and adore you, because they need to know that outside of the impression that you give off, at any point in time, I can come to Dad.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges that I've had as a dad is allowing my kids space to grow, because a lot of times I'll be listening to things and I'll have to be really cognizant about my body language, my facial expressions, my tone, because it's not that I'm trying to come down. It may be that maybe I'm a little disappointed in my heart with the choices. And I'm not trying to show that. It's more that I see that those decisions can lead to sorrow, and I don't want that. And so I'm trying to, I want to have an open heart. I want to be able to receive, but sometimes, it's like, having the right face. And I didn't want to say poker face, because a poker face means that you're just walled off and you're just putting on a facade. Having the right face for the right moment that allows your child or your wife to connect with you in a meaningful way. And even though maybe you're disappointed or frustrated, still have the demeanor that fosters an environment where we can grow together, where we can explore a challenge or something that they're struggling with, or, second guessing a thought or an intention. And when we can really discipline ourselves to put ourselves in, hey, you know what? I'm dad, and I'm here to love you, instead of being the domineering, you got to do it my way, or whatever. The consequences are going to be dire. You have no idea, right?
One of the things I learned is to play stupid, right? And I listen to me when I say this. As a dad or as a mentor, as a coach, I just play stupid. Like, I don't understand. Tell me more about it. Okay, and then you're gonna do that. Okay, and then what's supposed to be the outcome? Okay, did you think this all the way through? Like, I'm just asking questions. I'm playing completely dumb. And what that does is, what I found, it allows your child to talk it out in a way where they are in control of the conversation. I'm just asking one word questions. Really? Okay, so what then? Right? And so what that does, it makes them go down the rabbit hole of, let's explain this out. I just want you to hear what I hear. So now you can critique yourself. You can respond to you and say, okay, maybe that wasn't the best idea. Maybe I didn't think this through, right? So as parents, if you're listening to this, fathers, sometimes you might just have to play stupid. So that way your kids will be able to talk it and work the problem out themselves without you ever having to do it for them.
That's so funny, because I love the wisdom of that. But to actually hear the phrase, Dad, sometimes you just got to play stupid.
But the wisdom of it is it actually works.
No, it does. Uh, just the phrase of that is just funny. I'm just laughing in my head. And the thing is, it would be interesting to have the same discussion in 12 to 14 years when your daughter's a teenager, because right now you're practicing with young men, that are viewing you as a mentor, as a coach, right? They're not viewing you as daddy. Right. So it'll be interesting to hear what happens in 14 years when you try to play stupid with your 14-year-old daughter that's trying to play you.
I'll be like, oh, really? That's how you thought that was going to go? And how did it turn out? Right? I'm gonna totally play. I think I may enjoy it way too much, and I might destroy the moment. Just be me. And that's one of those moments where my wife is gonna smack me upside my head and be like, stop.
I want to be a fly on the wall when that happens, man. That's going to be a funny day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. So looking at being a dad now, and also looking at your relationship with your dad, because you had a great dad, very involved in your life, what are a few key things that you think are absolutely critical for us men to do as fathers and or husbands?
Man, so number one, be present, show up, be there, make yourself visible. Even if you are not with your child's mother, if you all aren't seeing eye to eye, being present matters to your children, right? So my dad, using myself, my dad worked afternoons and nights. So which means when we got home from school, he was already gone. When we went to bed, he was still gone, right? When we woke up in the morning, he was there. My dad took us to school every morning. After that, I didn't see my dad because he was working, but we knew where he was. We knew he was present. So that's number one. Be present to your children. Number three is be authentic. So when I say that, it means even when we talked about having like our poker face, right? Even if you don't have a poker face, look, I know I'm talking to dad, and I know he's probably mad, but I know he's going to listen. He's going to listen. He's going to give me his honest opinion about whatever it is. So be authentic with your children so they can know who you are. And number three is develop communication with them that allows them to talk to you about anything. So one of the biggest things that hurt my heart as I grew and matured was to find out that 1 out of 3 women are going to be sexually assaulted or molested in their life. that scares me
It's
because
scary.
now I'm the father of a daughter, and I have to think every day of where is this going to happen? How do I protect her? Right. And so, what I have to do from the day she was born until the day she decides to get married is make sure that I have that line of communication open where she can come and talk to me about anything. So, number one, please be present. Number two, be authentic. Number three, develop a line of communication with your children.
Mm, that those are all wisdom. And as I was thinking about preparing for a meeting with you today, I kept thinking about all of the dads in comic books, right? And I was thinking about, in particular, Peter Parker, and it was actually his uncle, not his dad, right?
Yeah.
Because I think some young men don't have fathers in their life, but it seems like God knows that they need to be blessed with a man that will touch their heart.
Yeah.
And even though they don't necessarily have a father, it seems like they are blessed with a man that makes a difference. And I love his counsel to Peter Parker. It's like, with great power comes great responsibility.
Right.
And we as dads, we are in a position of great power. The way that we treat our children, the way that we love them, the way that we raise them, the way that we treat our wives, it creates a legacy that ripples across their life and into their children's life. And so, with great power comes great responsibility for
That's
us dads to step up and be present, to be engaged, to be involved, to be everything our kids need to be, recognizing that we won't be the perfect dad, the perfect father, but we can do everything we can to make them feel loved and precious.
Jody, that's good. Yes. So and in that comic line, right? His uncle Ben is the catalyst, right? For him becoming the hero, for him discovering himself. And every time when he has those down moments, you can see it in the comics or even on the cartoon, right? He'll have a flashback like, oh man, Uncle Ben told me this, or I should do this because it would make him proud. Those are the things that as a father, we get to revel in later on down the line. It's not that we get it now. We add a little trinket here, we add a little piece there. So later on down the line, we can be like, yes, they did it. Oh my God. That's that moment of excitement as a father. Like, I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to do it. You did it on your own. And your child, right? When you do those things, when you're present and you have that line of communication and you're authentic, they're going to run to you. Dad, guess what I did? Oh my God, I did it all on my own. Like, yeah, I know you could, right? So now, exactly, you get to have those moments with your children, and that's what we all look for. Because I remember the day I beat my dad in basketball, right? So my dad and he's like otherworldly in my opinion. My dad still plays basketball to this day. Like he's in shape to be his age. I remember I don't think I beat my dad in basketball until I was like 17. That's how good he was, right? And the day I finally figured it out, my dad was like, took you long enough. He's like, there's no reason that I should have still been beating you. He's like, you're younger than me, you're faster than me, you're stronger than me. He's like, but I was smarter than you. He's like, when you finally start to understand the game and play it the right way and be smart, everything comes together. It's all connected. It's not about just shooting a 3-pointer. It's not about just grabbing the rebound. Can you do it all? Can you bring it all together? And so that's what fatherhood becomes for us, right? We've learned all of these lessons, and how do we bring them together to make our family appreciative of what we offer? How do we provide value to our wife and support our children and be men that are respectable? All those things that we have to do, and we learn these lessons. Now it all comes together. It's like, oh, it's that grand moment, right?
Yeah, no, that's great, man. Well, I have totally enjoyed this conversation. I mean, you and I could keep going, I'm sure.
Listen, I'm here, man. I'm here. I enjoy. I love this. I love being able to talk to men, to people who want to get to that next level. And so, before we get out of here, that's my biggest thing is I want everyone listening, fathers, listen, it's in you. That greatness is within you. Take what you know and apply it. You know what it's like. You may have been that kid that didn't have a father, so you know what that experience is like. Use that to your advantage. Hey, I'm going to be present. My kid will never be able to say my dad wasn't there, right? Because you know what that feels like, and you don't want to make someone else feel that way. Or if it means your relationship, I need to give more to my wife, or I need to give more to my child's mother because I know what it's like not to have that. All these things that we've gone through, all these experiences allow us to be the best version of us. Do that.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, man. It has been absolutely a kick in the pants, super fun, super thoughtful, and I just really appreciate you sharing your story, your wisdom, and we're going to have to do a round two.
I would love
So, but how do people connect with you? Because, I mean, you're doing some incredible things, so
yeah.
let's share some
So
love.
right now, I'm super basic. You can reach me on Facebook. My name is Will Fosset, Will Fosset, Fossett, or you can reach me on Instagram at _ the Millennial Mentor _ right? That's it. So reach out to me if you guys need a moment to talk, or you want to develop some new content, or you want to look into anything. I'm here to help. So Will Fosset, the Millennial Mentor.
Well, thank you so much. And you guys that are tuning in, thank you guys so much for joining us every week. I mean, the goal of Father's Fire is to help all of us men learn and grow and become not only great fathers, but great husbands and great men, and have an impact on our families. And as we have impact on our families, that ripples across every aspect of our community. So dads, we can make a huge difference if we truly are present, engaged, involved, and just love our kids like no other dad can, because you are exactly the dad that they need. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and we will check you same time, same bat channel right here on Father's Fire next week. See ya.
See ya.
That was awesome, man.